Thank you for taking the time to go through a brief run through on our T3 Smart Records product. T3 Smart Records was developed to allow our clients to take any type of paper documentation for recording of tests, quality assurance tests, chemical tests, any type of paper documentation that they have to keep track of and keep records and keep those records over a period of time for inspections, things like that. I'm going to log in today to Smart Records as a user on our demo site, as the admin user on the demo site. As the admin, I have the ability to look at current records that are being put into our system by other users. And that's the screen you have here. So we have the name of the record that's being kept, the date that it was put in, the user that entered it, and what client units and subunits it's tied to. I can also search this section for just what we would call corn words, or in this case I put corn in and it's showing me a quality log for corn tests, anything that's got corn associated to it. So that is the records. That's where your current records are being kept. Now, as an admin, I also have the ability to edit templates, add and edit templates. I have the ability to add and edit client units and subunits and users. When I select users, I have the ability to go into the system and add a user or edit a user. In this case, we'll edit a user. And we have the ability to add passwords for that user, tie them to a location. So if we want them to see only a specific facility that we've set up, we can tie them to that facility in that location. We also can give them permissions. Permissions allow them, in this case, to edit locations, so they could add new locations to the system. Edit records, this would be where they would just add the documentation. Edit templates, so they could actually create their own templates, and in this case, if they edited users, they could actually add new users to the system. So once I've done that and added the users I want to, I can go to client units and subunits, and in this case, as you can see, it's a three-tiered level with client being on top, the unit, and then the subunits. So this allows us to keep track of, in this case, a loading dock, a parking lot. Where do we want to keep our documentation to? What do we want to tie it to? In other instances, it can be, in this case, a packing house and a line in a packing house that we have to do. So it might be in this line in this packing house, it might be a sanitation report that we're going to run to this line. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm actually going to go enter, show you how a template is built. So in this case, we'll go to templates, and you'll see these are the current templates that I have built. If I wanted to add a new one, I could just add a new one here, but in this case, for this demo, we're going to just go to one that is currently built, and we are going to use the weekly restroom sanitation report. Now notice that you'll see that you have your name up here for the record you're creating, the fields within the record, and the names of the fields. After the names of the fields, you have the type of field it is that you're capturing. In this case, it's a static text, so it's just going to show us, and if we look at it here, it'll just show us this is the message that we're going to place on it. So we have a yes/no field, so they'll have a yes/no checkbox as we go through here. And then an editable text, so you can add any comments that you want in here. Now, what you'll also see is that we have a list box available, so you can type a whole list here. And then we also have numeric available. In numeric, you give a minimum and a maximum range. And if for some reason we fall outside of those values, we can alert. And I'll explain what an alert is here in a second. And then also, we have signatures. So if we have one, if we're running this on our phone or on our tablet, if we have a signature here, we can have them sign right into the phone or the touchscreen and keep a record of that signature for the document. We also have what we call a file. And a file will actually allow you to capture in the template that you build. It will allow you to capture a PDF document, an Excel document, those types of things. But it'll also, if we're using a phone or if we're using a tablet, will allow us to capture a photo. So if I were to create this file or this field on our template, when it came up and I went to enter data in it, I was using my phone, it would ask me to use my camera and I could take a picture of it. Very neat to have and keep a good picture record of what's going on within your tests. The calculation field will basically allow us to come in and in this case we do not have any numeric fields, but if we have numeric fields we can create calculations based off the numeric fields that we have in the template. So next, once those fields are created in the template, we can then go to a schedule. And I can schedule when this needs to be done. So if this test has to be done every morning by, let's say, we're going to start it today at 3 p.m. and it recurs every day. The time zone is this time. And there is the daily alert that I have set up. So if this record hasn't been done by 3:07 p.m. every day, whoever is our alert will get a record sent to them, whether it's an email or a text, to warn them that they haven't done this test. So in this case, if we just select, I'll select myself and add myself in. What will happen is anytime we do an alert or scheduled alert and we do not meet the criteria, it will send a text to me. And I need to tie this to a location. So in this case, I'm going to select all clients, all locations, and you'll see that. And now update it. Now what a location, as we talked about before, in a location is that it's anything that you can tie. If I want to do it to a line, if I want to do it to a loading dock, that's where this template will only show up. So if somebody is tied to the loading dock, they sign in, they'll only see their templates that are in the loading dock. So in this case, I've went through this, showed you your different information that we send out or we're collecting in this. And now we're going to go actually add a record for that template. So I go to records, and normally, like I said before, this would be done on a phone or a tablet. But if I hit add, and I scroll down to weekly restroom sanitation report. Now, as you see, we have our text field that we created here, and then we have our yes/no answers. Sinks and faucets are clean, yes. Mirrors clean, yes. Lights and door handles have been wiped down. We'll just leave that as no. Toilets are clean. We'll leave that as no, thinking that they didn't get cleaned, and we'll see. So floors are mopped and floors vacuumed. Yes. So any note that I want to put in here, if I want to put my initials in as the inspector and then as the supervisor, so this would be the person that should have been doing the tests, and this would be my initials to say that I looked over their job. And hit add. Now we'll see it goes yes, 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 no, no, yes. So this is the actual report. And I can actually send this off to anybody or print it off directly here. I can also later add a linked record. So if for some reason one of these didn't fail and I had to fix them, I could go in and add a linked record to it. And I can do that through going back to my records. And you'll see here that our weekly restroom sanitation report shows up at the top. The time we did it, and the user, myself, did it, and who I tied it to. Now, if I needed to tie an additional test to that, I could click on the view on the side of that and add a linked record, and it'll allow me to go through and add another record In this case, we will not do that, just to give you an example. We're back at our record screen. We can actually use our wildcard section to filter based off the name of a report or record, or anything that is within that record that you want to report on. So if I have lots that I'm keeping track of, people I'm keeping track of, if I tie it in, it'll pull that up and I can filter based off those reports. I can also do that by client, units, and subunits. I can also do it by open alerts and corrected alerts, meaning that if I was alerted, text or email, and I wanted to see what alerts were open that people haven't put a corrected alert in for, that will show those to me. That is our brief overview of our T3 Smart Records product for today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us and we will answer anything specifically you have. Otherwise, keep looking for updates on the software and new videos to come. Thank you very much.